Good morning to all of you. Today we are discussing about the topic mitigation strategies of the drought. Here some mitigation strategies which are given. In that, firstly, the crop management practices which are used to mitigate the drought. That means the crop management practices which are used to minimize the drought. Under that, crop management practices, there are mainly the three crop management practices are there. First one is the selection of the crops or the varieties. Then second one, that is the seed hardening. Third one, that is the sowing of the crop. Then first, crop management practices which are used to mitigate the drought, that is the selection of the crops and varieties. The selected crop or variety should having the short duration. Then the selected variety should be early vigor. They should have the deep root system. That means they can able to extract the moisture from the lower layer of the soil. Then under the selection of crops or the varieties, whatever the varieties or the crop which is selected, that should be dwarf plant with the erect leaves as well as the stem. Then the selected crop should having the moderate number of the tillers. Then the lesser period between the flowering as well as the maturity. Then the selected crops or the varieties should have the moderate dormancy, and the selected crop or variety, they should be widely adopted by the condition of that locality. Then there are some relative drought tolerant crops which are selected in the different seasons. For example, in Kharif season, the crops like the sorghum, pearl millet, kodo millet, green gram, black gram, and Niger, which are suggested. Then, in case of the Rabi crops, the crops selected are oat, barley, and the wheat. That means the triticale. Then, under the legume crop, here some crops which are selected to mitigate the drought condition. That is soybean, groundnut, chickpea, cowpea, and pigeon pea. Then the second crop management practice, that is the seed hardening. Then what is the seed hardening? So the seed hardening is defined as, it refers to the technique of subjecting the seeds to soaking in a water or the appropriate chemical solution, and they are dry in a shade. That means known as the seed hardening. Simply, the techniques of the seed hardening that involves the whatever the seeds which are selected, that selected seeds, they are soaked in water or the another solutions of the chemical, and after that these seeds which are dry in a shade. Particularly this seed hardening that helps the plant to survive during the initial moisture stress condition. That means by the application of the seed hardening, that helps to survive the crops during the initial moisture stress condition. That means during the initial growth stages of the crop. So this is also the one of the important technique for the mitigation of the drought under the rainfed condition. Then what are the different management practices which are followed for the mitigation of the drought? That management practices it involves the time of sowing. The time of sowing that also plays the very important role in increasing the yield as well as the mitigation of the drought in a rain-fed condition. An increasing yield has been found by advancing the date of sowing in a kharif as well as the rabi crop. Means the time of sowing that plays very important role when we are adopting the timely sowing operation in case of the kharif crop as well as the rabi crop, that helps to increasing the yield drastically. Then what is the advantages of the time of sowing? That means when the sowing which is carried out in a time. So there are three main advantages of the timely sowing of the crop. First one, that is the better moisture availability. When we have carried out the sowing operation timely, and in that condition the whatever the moisture which is available, that is used efficiently, and in that case the germination of crop is takes place in a better way. Then it also gives the good seedling figure, that means during the initial growth stages the seedling they are well developed. Then third one, that is the longer growing season. When the sowing operation that is carried out in time, in that condition the longer growing season that is available for the growth and development of the crop. Then there are some soil and water conservation methods which are used to mitigate the drought condition in a rain-fed area. That means the various soil conservation as well as the water conservation methods which are applied to reduce or to minimize the drought under the rain-fed condition. So these soil and water conservation methods that involves the in situ moisture conservation practices, then water harvesting structures, then the application of the mulches, then use of the various anti-transpirant and the adopting the modern irrigation techniques. So these are the various soil and water conservation methods which are used to mitigate the drought condition. In that the first and most important practice, that is the in situ moisture conservation practices. It involves the land shaping, then contour cultivation, field or the contour bunding, tillaging, then digging of the trenches, ridges and furrow system of sowing. Then raised on a sunken beds are important practices for the conserving and managing the rainwater for realizing the higher productivity. Here some in situ soil moisture conservation practices which includes the compartmental bunding, then conservation furrow, then the construction of the broad bed and furrow, then ridges and furrow, then next one that is the contour bunding, graded bunding, then dead furrow and interplot rainwater harvesting. So these are the various techniques which are included under the in situ moisture conservation practices. In this figure this figure shows the various in situ soil moisture conservation practices. For example, compartmental bunding, then dead furrow, back furrow. So this figure that showing the various in situ soil moisture conservation practices, and that practices which helps to store the maximum water into the soil, and it also helps to mitigate the drought condition or to minimize the drought condition under the rain-fed situation. Then the next one, that is the water harvesting structure. So firstly, what is the water harvesting? We should know the definition or the concept of the water harvesting. So the water harvesting is the process of collecting rainfall or the runoff from a longer catchment area that is to be used in a smaller target area. That means whatever the excess water after the receiving of rainfall that is collected and stored from the larger catchment area, and that stored water that is useful for the small area in future for the cultivation of the various crop. The collected runoff water that may be either directly applied to the adjacent field as a supplemental life-saving irrigation of crops during the moisture stress condition. That means whatever the harvested water is there and the collected runoff water is there, that is in first the collected runoff water is used for the two purpose. Firstly, they are directly applied to the field as a supplemental irrigation, and again it is also used during the moisture stress condition. Then there are some water harvesting structures are there. These are the cisterns, that is also known as the tankas or the kunda. Then second one is the khadi, third one is the village pond, next one is the series of check dams on the natural stream, and last one is the percolation tank. So these are the various water harvesting structure. That means whatever the water that is collected from the runoff water that is stored in the water harvesting structure. Then the first water harvesting structure, that is the cisterns or the tanka, or it is also known as the kunda. So this is the first water harvesting structure. Under this, the underground storage cistern, tanka or kund is the most common rainwater harvesting system that is particularly used in the Indian arid zone, means those area which receiving the rainfall of a very less amount. Then this tanka is constructed by the digging a circular hole of 3 to 4.25 meter diameter. Then the cisterns, they are constructed in the uh, earth surface and which having the dimension, that means which having the circular hole of 3 to 4.25 meter diameter, and they are plastered the base and side with the 6 millimeter thick lime mortar or 3 millimeter thick cement. So this is the first water harvesting structure, that is the cistern, tanka, or it is also known as the kunda. Then next one is the khadi. So this khadi system of water harvesting and the moisture conservation, that is particularly suited for the soil plot that is surrounded by some of the natural catchment zone. Even during the severe drought year, the khadi may be used for getting a successful crop on a stored soil profile moisture. So this khadi system of the water harvesting, that is useful during the severe drought year, and they are useful for getting the successful crop production on the stored soil profile moisture. So this is the second water harvesting structure which is used mostly during the drought years. Then next one is the village pond, that is also known as the nadis or tobas. Then nadis, they are the small to medium sized excavated or the embanked village ponds. They are used for the harvesting of the precipitation. These ponds that can provide the water for the life saving irrigation to crop during the drought stress condition. Whatever the water that is stored in this village pond, that is used for the life saving irrigation. That means whatever the store water is there, and that store water which is used for saving the life of crop and which is given to supplement the irrigation, for that purpose this store water is useful. Then next water storage structure, that is the check dam. In this system, the artificial recharge that is made to restrict the surface runoff through the stream and by making the additional water available for the percolation. So this check dam, they are the artificially constructed obstacle to the flowing water and the excess water that is allowed to flow from that structure, that is known as the check dam. Then next one is the percolation tank. So these percolation tanks, they are generally constructed on the small stream with the adequate catchment for impounding the surface runoff. That means these percolation tanks which are constructed in a small stream, that means where the small flow of water is there, and that area that should also having the adequate catchment area for collection of the surface runoff water. Then these tanks are used entirely for recharging the aquifer through the percolation. So this is the fourth water harvesting structure, particularly useful in the rural area for the storage of the runoff water, and again it is useful for the cultivation of crop, as the water which is stored in this percolation tank which is used for the life saving irrigation to the crop. Then next important practice which is used to mitigate the drought, that means this is also used to minimize the drought condition in the rain-fed situation, that is the mulching. So we should know the definition as well as the concept of mulching. So firstly we will discuss about the definition of mulching. So the mulching is defined as the any material which is used at the surface or vertically in soil to assist the soil and water conservation and the soil productivity is called as the mulching. In simple way, the mulching or the mulching material, that is the it is a organic or inorganic substance or the material which is spread on the surface of soil to cover the soil surface in order to minimize the evaporation, then in maintaining the temperature of soil as well as the storage of the moisture into the soil, that is known as the mulching. And the process of application of mulches on the soil, that is known as the mulching. Then mulching helps in conservation of the moisture. Then it also helps to lowering the soil temperature around the plant roots. Then it also helps to reduces the weed growth, and it also helps crops during the moisture stress condition. That means the mulching having the several number of advantages, as it helps to conserve the moisture, it lowers the soil temperature, then it reduces the weed growth, then it helps for the storage of moisture during the stress condition. Again, weed intensity is also reduces. That means the mulching which having the several number of the advantages. Then there are different types of the mulches are there. First one is the plastic film. They help in maintaining the higher water content in a soil resulted from the reduced evaporation. Then increased infiltration, reduces transpiration from the weeds, or the combination of all these factor. So the first type of mulches, that is the plastic film. So this plastic film, they help to maintain the higher water content in soil. That means the maximum water that is stored into the soil. Then it also reduces the rate of evaporation, increases the infiltration rate of the water into the soil. Then it reduces the transpiration from the aerial parts of the plant, as well as they are useful in the all the combined factors. Then the examples of the plastic film, they are the polythene or the polyvinyl. These are the examples of the plastic film. Then second type of mulch, that is the crop residue or the stubble mulch. So the crop residue and the other plant waste product, for example corn as well as the sawdust, they are widely used as a mulch. That means whatever the waste material that is available on the farm, that can be used as a crop residue or the stubble mulch. These materials are cheap and often easily available. That means these material which are used as a crop residue, they are very cheap. That means the cost required to purchase this material is very less, and they are easily available. Then these material result in increased water content and reduces the evaporation. Then examples of the crop residues are the straw, then clothes, as well as the leaves. So this is the second type of the mulch, that is the crop residue or the stubble mulch. The third type of the mulch, that is the sawdust mulch. Mulching with the sawdust is a common practice. Particularly the sawdust is acidic in nature, which help in making a good mulch choice for acid loving plants. Particularly the sawdust mulch, which is used in the acid loving plant, then they have a high water absorption capacity. So the soil dust mulch, they absorb the higher water content than the other types of the mulches. The next one, that is the soil or the dust mulch. Then what is the soil mulch or the dust mulch? If the surface of the soil is loosened, it acts as a mulch for reducing the evaporation. If the soil which is loosened through the any practices which are carried out in the farm, and this loose soil which act as a dust mulch or the soil mulch. This loose surface is called as soil mulch or the dust mulch. Then interculturing, that creates the soil mulch in growing crops and helps in closing the deep crack in a fertile soil. Then this soil mulch or dust mulch, which having the important advantage as it helps in closing the deep crack which are formed in a fertile soil or in a black soil. Then next type of mulch, that is the vertical mulch. Then the vertical mulch is a technique which consists of digging a suitable trenches across the slope and thus making more surface are available for the water absorption. So this vertical mulch, that is the technique, and it consists of the digging of the suitable trenches, and these trenches which are digged across the slope of the land, and due to that it makes the more surface which are available for the absorption of the water as well as the conservation of water into the soil. Then the next important practice which are used to mitigate the drought, that is the use of the anti-transpirant. So what is anti-transpirant? Anti-transpirant, these are the chemicals or the material they are applied to the transpiring plant surfaces, that is help for reducing the water loss from the plant. So particularly whatever the chemicals or the any material that is applied on the plant surfaces in order to reduce the water loss from the aerial parts of the plant. that is known as the anti-transparent. The purpose of anti-transparent is to maintain the growth and productivity under the stress condition. So what is the aim behind the application of anti-transparent? That is to maintain the growth as well as the productivity of the crop under the stress condition. And it is never recommended for the high productivity per unit area. That means those area which having the high productivity per unit area, in that condition the application of the anti-transparent which is not recommended. The severity of intermittent drought of 6 to 10 years during the critical stages of crop can reasonably be avoided by the use of anti-transparent, and thus crops can be saved. Then there are mainly four types of the anti-transparents are there. First one is the stomata closing type of the anti-transparent, second one is the film forming type of the anti-transparent, third one is the reflectance type of the anti-transparent, and fourth one is the growth retardant. So first type of the anti-transparent, that is the stomata closing type of the anti-transparent. So most of the transpiration which occurs to the stomata which are present on the leaf surfaces. So mostly the transpiration through the plant surfaces which is takes place by the stomata, and these stomata which are present on the leaf surfaces of the plant. These stomata, they increases the stomata closing type of the anti-transparent, they increases the stomata closing or decreases the size as well as the number of stomata, which subsequently reduces the photosynthesis. Then there are some examples of the stomata closing type of the anti-transparent. They are phenyl mercuric acetate, that means PMA, and second one is the atrazine. These are the familiar examples of the stomata closing type of the anti-transparent. Then next one, that is the film forming type of the anti-transparent. In that the plastic and waxy material which form a thin colorless film over the leaf surface and result in a physical barrier. So this film forming type of the anti-transparent, they form a thin colorless film over the leaf surface, and due to that they act as a physical barrier in the process of the transpiration. Then these glossy films then reduces the water loss on the plant, while at the same time they allow to breathe normally. So the important function of this film forming type of the anti-transparent, the glossy film that are formed after the application of the film forming type of the anti-transparent, they reduces the water loss through the plant, and at that same time they allow to breathe normally. That means the respiration which is takes place normally. Then there are some examples of the film forming type of the anti-transparents. These are hexadecanol, that means higher alcohols, then cetyl alcohol, methanol, then pacrobutrazole, then brasinolide, and resorcinol. These are the examples of the some film forming type of the anti-transparent. Then the third type of the anti-transparent, that is the reflecting type of the anti-transparent. So the reflecting type of the anti-transparents are the white material that forms the coating on the leaves. So this reflecting type of the anti-transparent particularly form a coating on the plant leaves, and they increases the leaf reflectance, that means it increases the albedo of that leaves, and again by reflecting the radiation vapor pressure gradient, and thus reduces the transpiration. Then due to the reflection or the albedo, the vapor pressure gradient as well as the it also helps to reduces the transpiration. Then there are some examples of the reflecting type of the anti-transparents. These are the kaolin, then china clay, calcium bicarbonate, and the lime water. These are the examples of the reflecting type of the anti-transparent. Then next one is the growth retardant. Then these chemicals, they reduces the shoot growth, and it also increases the root growth, and thus enable the plant to resist the drought condition. They may also induces the stomata closure also. Particularly this growth retardant type of the anti-transparent mainly reduces or retard the shoot growth as well as it increases the root growth, and due to that they enable the plant to resist the drought condition, and after that it also helps to increases the closing of the stomata also. So the example of the growth retardant type of the anti-transpirant, that is the cycosol. That is the very familiar examples of the growth retardant, which is the one of the important type of the anti-transpirants. There are some modern irrigation techniques which are also helps to mitigate the drought condition. The sprinkler and the drip irrigation methods, these are most suitable moisture stress conditions. So the important irrigation methods as the sprinkler as well as the drip irrigation method, they are suitable for the moisture stress condition. These methods helps in the water conservation. The convenience losses of the water are practically very negligible. That means whatever the amount of water that is lost through the sprinkler as well as the drip irrigation method, that is very negligible, that means very less. Then the risk of soil erosion is low as the application rate is also low. That means the soil erosion which is also very less because of the application rate of water through the sprinkler irrigation as well as the drip irrigation method is very less. Then the sprinkler system is most suitable for the narrow spaced crops grown on the undulating light texture soil. Then the drip irrigation system, that is not affected by the high wind velocity as it applies water directly into the root zone. That means when we are applying the water through the drip irrigation system, and due to that is not affected by the high wind velocity because we are applying water directly into the root zone of the crop. This method of irrigation is more suitable for the wider spacing crops as well as the orchard. The drip irrigation system, that is mostly suitable for those crop which having the wide spacing as well as it is mostly suitable for the orchard. Then as the irrigation which is given directly near to the root zone in the drip system and the whole soil surface is not wetted. During the drip irrigation system, we are applying the irrigation directly into the root zone, and due to that the whole surface area of the land that is not wet, and the phase losses of water is also minimized. That means the drip irrigation system is very efficient under the rain-fed condition as the application losses of water through this method is very less. Then the important practice which is also given to mitigate the drought condition, that is the contingency crop planning. So the contingency crop planning which involves the late onset of monsoon. So in that condition we can adopt the transplanting of the various crop. If the onset of monsoon is late, that means the late start of monsoon is there, in that condition we can plant the crop by the transplanting method. Then in that condition we can also adopt the alternate crops or the varieties which having the short duration as compared to the regular varieties. These important practices which are adopted in case of the late onset of the monsoon. Then next one, the dry spell during the crop period. If the dry spell or the stress condition is there during the crop period, then we are applying the rotting and the thinning of the crop. That means they are helps to minimize the transpiration losses of the plant. Then the application of mulches, that helps to conserve the soil moisture. Then it also helps to reduces the evaporation, and it also helps to maintain the temperature of the soil also. Then the important practice which is also followed as the spraying of the urea, that also minimize the stress condition. Then timely weed control which is also essential in the dry spell which is occur during the crop period, and due to that the if the weeds are controlled in time, and due to that the transpiration losses of the transpiration losses is minimized, as well as the crop and weed competition is also minimized in that crop plot. Then the water harvesting and the life saving irrigation, that also plays a very important role if the dry spell which is occurred during the crop period. Then next one, that is the early withdrawal of the monsoon. If there is the early withdrawal of monsoon, that means the late early stop of the rain that takes place during that condition. At that time the harvesting of crop at a physiological maturity stage which is carried out. Then the short duration varieties which are selected, and they are also harvested early during the early withdrawal of the monsoon. Then the strategies adopted for mitigating the dry spell during the crop period, that can be also done to minimize the moisture stress condition or the drought condition. Then some other long term strategies which are also used to mitigate the drought. Then under the long range forecast, it is in preview of IMD and accurate oceanographic pre-monsoon conditions. Besides the date of onset and withdrawal of monsoon, then accurate forecast about the amount and distribution of rainfall is ensuring the Kharif season would be of a great value for the planners as well as the farmers to develop the contingent plant, rather a all season weather code for the drought as well as the flood condition. That means under the long range forecast, it is always forecasted that the onset as well as the withdrawal of monsoon and how much amount of the monsoon that can be received during a particular year, that is also helps for the planning of the farmer as well as the other scientists to plan the farming in a better way. And due to that, the drought or the flood condition that can be managed in a better way. So the long range forecast also plays a very important role in the management of the crop under the rain-fed condition. Then the IRS-P4 satellite with the OceanSat OCM or MSMR sensor may prove of a great value in studying the ocean situation. Then the great emphasis is to be laid in the future on long range forecast to combat the drought condition. Then these forecasts which are given for the benefit of farmer for planning their agricultural operations as well as the crop selection, and for planners for the advanced planning in case of the anticipated flood or the drought condition. That means the forecast which is particularly helpful for the farmers as well as the farmers in planning their various agricultural operation. Then the selection of crop, and that is also helpful for the advanced planning when the drought condition or the flood condition is forecasted. Then the next practice which is used for the mitigation of drought, that is the alternate land use system. In practicing the alternate land use such as the agroforestry, agrohorticulture and silvipastoral, they have provided the long-term drought proofing in the Indian arid zone. That means the alternate land use system that plays very important role in minimization of drought condition, as the various crops which are included under that system, as it includes the agronomical crop, forest trees, then horticultural crops like some fruit crop, then various grasses, they are beneficial in the Indian arid zone. For example, there are some cropping systems which are given as a onla plus fit, then onla plus turmeric. These are the cropping system which are adopted under the alternate land use system for the better management of drought in a rain-fed condition. Thank you.